difficulties.
Let's talk about another subject. Last week you were endorsed by the National Right to Life Committee, but you oppose a constitutional ban on abortion. You say you'd like to see it the way it was before Roe versus Wade, with the decision up to states. Let's take a look at what one of your rivals, Governor Huckabee, had to say about that. Here it is.
It's the logic of the Civil War. If morality is the point here, and if it's right or wrong, not just a political question, then you can't have 50 different versions of what's right and what's wrong.
Senator, I'm going to give you a chance to respond to that in just a second, but let me ask you two yes or no questions first. Do you believe that life begins at conception?
Yes.
Do you believe that abortion is the taking of life?
Yes.
So why leave it up to the states where, as you well know, before Roe versus Wade, some states allowed abortion on demand?
Well, in the first place, I guess over the next few weeks we'll have an opportunity to analyze Governor Huckabee's statements. He supported the same thing that I've been saying as late as last year, a couple of years ago. He said leave it up to the states, essentially. What the situation is now is as follows. Because of Roe versus Wade, all states are restricted from passing rules that they otherwise would maybe like to pass with regard to this area. If you abolish Roe versus Wade, you're going to allow every state to pass reasonable rules that they might see fit to pass. When we had control of the House, had control of the Senate, had control of the presidency, there wasn't even a serious effort to put forth a constitutional amendment because people knew that it couldn't pass. Couldn't pass, wouldn't pass. What I've been talking about is directing our energy towards something that was halfway practical, something that could get done. That has to do with federal judges, it has to do with the Supreme Court, it has to do with Roe versus Wade. So now where we have no states with the option of doing anything about it, then we would have however many states wanted to. You could move from the 0-yard line, you know, to the 60 or 70-yard line instead of standing pat, which is what we're doing now, which is where we will remain if we don't abolish Roe versus Wade.
But Senator, I want to put up something that you said 2 weeks ago, and here it is. I think people ought to be free at state and local levels to make decisions that even Fred Thompson disagrees with. That's what freedom is all about. Senator, that is the essence of the pro-choice argument, not individual choice, but pro-choice for states.
No, not really. I mean, how many pro-choice people say that they want to see the abolition of Roe versus Wade? I don't know any. What I'm talking about is abolishing Roe versus Wade. If you can't carry
but you're saying that states, even if you disagree with them, states could have abortion on demand.
Well, that's not abortion on demand. They could restrict. They would have the ability to restrict abortion more than they do now.
But Senator, pre-Roe versus Wade, some states had abortion on demand. Here in D.C., they had it.
Well, they would not have anything under that situation that they don't have now. I mean, the gain would be on the pro-life side. I mean, they have Roe versus Wade and all of the progeny from that already.
But you'd allow states to have abortion on demand.
I don't know of any states that have abortion on demand. Perhaps they do. But what I'm saying is if Roe versus Wade passed, let's just say hypothetically...
I mean, if you reversed Roe
reversed it. Let's just say hypothetically that some states did that. You'd have an awful lot of other states that are restricted by Roe versus Wade now. They could place restrictions on abortion that they can't do now. I mean, you'd be making substantial progress. So but ultimately, do I think a state ultimately has to have the right to maybe do something that I would disagree with? If you can't carry the ball in those states, yes, there's no question about it. We live in a democratic society. But if we can't carry the argument, if we can't win the argument, which I think that we are winning nationwide now, we can never pass a constitutional amendment anyway. We sit here and talk about the ideal, which would be a constitutional amendment. 2/3 of the Congress, 3/4 of the states, and are basically saying that we could get that done, but we can't go state by state and win this argument. I believe that's wrong. I think we could make substantial progress.